Hello, genealogy friends. We have made it to the end of our 30-day challenge, and I hope that it really was helpful for you and that you had fun doing it. I, of course, had an interruption in the middle when I was sick, coughing for emphasis, and it was great to have the challenge sort of around that in a weird way because it did make me get right back into it and sort of regain my focus, where I feel like those are the kinds of things that interrupt me. And then the next thing I know, a year has gone by and I've done nothing else on this, part of the family. Anyway, I am going to show you how the pages that came out of the challenge worked out for me. Again, the point of the challenge wasn't necessarily to make a book or to make a collection of pages that are finished. It was to really deep dive into research in just a small group of people to sharpen your research skills, try out a couple other things, and to practice page making and hopefully get motivated to tell your family story creatively. So if you don't have a lot of pages, that's fine. If you've got a ton of pages, that's great. Either way, I would love to see what you've done with the challenge if you felt like sharing in the group, or you can always just email me directly. I don't have as many pages as like if you had asked me at the beginning of the challenge, what will come out of this challenge, I would have thought I would have had a lot more, and I would have thought that the story would have been different because I picked this family thinking that they came over on the Oregon Trail. I kind of went into this whole Oregon Trail interest thing in August, and it turns out I was off by a generation, and this family didn't come over on the Oregon Trail. So then I had lots and lots of research time in this challenge that didn't come out in the book because what I was finding was, oh, that was wrong, and then that was a dead end, and this needs more that I need to look into. One member of the family in particular, I'm having a hard time researching him, but it felt really good to dive in and then check a lot of things off my list that, okay, he didn't do this, he wasn't here, this isn't his thing. And so it didn't result in pages, but I feel like I got a lot done. Because of the way the video is, if you're watching on a mobile device or something like that, when I start showing my book, turn your device, because I filmed it the other way so that you could have a better look at the pages that I created. Again, more work to do, but I had fun with it, and I hope you enjoy taking a peek at what I did. I did a very simple cover, just did the John Alexander Gordon family, because that's who I did for the challenge. A little note. So these are the 5 people that I was investigating, and I believed that they had come over on the Oregon Trail as pioneers because I've got this photo of them as children with the covered wagon and everything, and it turned out that that wasn't the story. So a short index. I used the blank index. I meant to put in their birth years here, and I just realized that I didn't do that yet, so I'm going to go back and fix that page. You guys don't normally see me use just page protectors, but for something like this, I prefer that to using the disc bound, which aren't that stable, or, getting it printed, and then I can't do things like fix this page. Okay, so here's an ancestor profile. I went ahead and changed the names just because it was such a short little project. Here's a timeline. I love the timelines for my people, and that was one of the tasks for the challenge. Here's a visually engaging page, just a couple of things. Birth records, parents and siblings, marriage records, and some information about their marriage and their home. Occupation records. I love to use Canva and to remove the background from scans like this so that it really looks like you just dropped whatever the record or artifact is on the page. Death records, source citations. We've got the next person, her timeline, another visually engaging page, and I used clip art for this one. She was a employee of the Union Pacific Railroad. Birth records. I would like to find a better image of historic Philadelphia, so it's kind of a placeholder. This was, one of the challenges was to use one of the map or journey pages to show a journey, and I actually chose to do it on top of this photo family tree instead. It turns out that it's her father who came over and did the whole Oregon Trail thing, so I was off by a generation, so I included information just about the family's movement on the photo family tree. It also helped me, use up the blank space underneath where other children would have gone. Marriage records, occupation records. Here's where I used a QR code. She was a telegraph operator for the Union Pacific Railroad. So I found this great video showing a person demonstrating the equipment. And I actually have the equipment that she used because she took it with her when she quit. So that's a fun addition. That's how I use the QR code. A letter about her employment and her retirement, death records, source citations, the next person, his timeline, short birth records, some military service for him with a visual timeline, marriage records, occupation records, kind of divided it between two different occupations here, and death records, source citations, and the next person, timeline, and then some birth records and some information about the World War I draft card, marriage records, and this is where I did an additional person page. I did information about his spouse, and then death records. I have more to do on him. My research questions didn't prove fruitful, so I did a lot of research, but I didn't come up with a lot to put on his pages. Source citations, and then the last person, her timeline, her marriage records, and information about the family home, including information from a letter. I thought about adding a transcription, but it's not terribly hard to read, although, of course, a generation down, they won't be able to read cursive. Burial information, and then her source citations. So, all in all, the goal, again, was to get focused, not necessarily to do a book, but I like the way this little project turned out, and it did really help me with getting to know this group of people better. And so, yeah, the challenge went well, and that's how it turned out for me.